oh my gosh, do I have to like talk to that person now? She hurt my feelings so bad. That person's a grown person at work. I already have told them, you know, before that this bothers me. They're doing it again. They must be doing it on purpose. So I'm just never speaking to that person again. Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, then welcome. I hope that you find the content of this channel to be beneficial for you, for just to meet some of your spiritual needs and some of your shamanic questions, to receive a boost in areas that you need healing in your life. If so, and you'd like to receive more content like that, make sure that you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it with others that you might think that it would benefit, and comment below if you have ideas of things that you would like me to touch on next, or shamanic journeys that you would like me to take with the community. Okay. It's been a little while since I've recorded a video specifically for YouTube. I have been sharing some of my events and my journeys with you so that the full community could benefit from some of those healings that I've taken. And of course, if this is your first time joining me, let me just really quick introduce myself. I am Wyzdom DVine, Siobhan. I am also known by my shamanic name, which is Heals the Mother. I am a shamanic practitioner, shamanic healer, as well as a trainer and instructor. I am a metaphysical and spiritual advisor and mentor. So I do have sessions that are one-on-one sessions. I do not solicit those. So if you're getting any solicitations from me, they're not coming from me. I only accept those that come to me first and have to come through my website. So I do have one-on-one sessions. I have events. I have this channel. I create content and spaces for other empaths, highly sensitives, and what I call gifted helpers, so that we can learn the tools. I can share what I know, and I can help people, help this group of people in particular, to reach a level where you're able to really fully access your gifts with the full amount of benefit and potential that you are allotted here by the beautiful universe, as well as to be able to claim dominion as a sovereign soul, so that you can use those gifts and put up boundaries and only apply them where you deem fit, where you choose. So using the power of free will and the power of choice, that is my main focus. And so I teach lots of classes and I create lots of spaces for that. And one of those spaces is this here YouTube channel. The program that we were doing before, we had a couple of breaks and some other things came up. My guides, spirit guides, were really pushing for me to start another shamanic training level 1 class for beginners, which is going great now. That class is closed at this time. If you were looking for that, please make sure that you subscribe to my email list, which I'll put the link for that below, so that you can find out when another class will be available the next time that you can register to be trained by me in different areas. I also am a Reiki master teacher, as well as a curandera, and lots of modalities. I do lots of things. I've been very busy, just like I'm sure many of you watching this channel have been as well. So the last thing that we were going through were shadows that come up in the lives of empaths, highly sensitives, and other gifted helpers. So we all have shadow work to do. We're all here on this planet. For many times, some of us, reincarnating, developing lots of karmic debts and karmic footprints that we have to kind of iron out through our lifetimes. And so sometimes in this lifetime, and sometimes even from previous lifetimes, we have some shadows that come to the surface either for integration and acceptance or for acceptance and healing. So some of these are going to be things that you find maybe were hidden from you, but once you realize they're there, you completely want to just send them some love and integrate them into your life, and you're happy with that. And other things, you're still going to send them love and you're going to give them acceptance, but you're going to lovingly release them to the light, to a better place, and say that you are no longer in need of these survival techniques, which most shadows are just ways that we've come across time and space and found that this was the best way for us to survive and for us to get through the harshness of the world and come up with our own rules for protection, for self sufficiency and protection. So the last one that I left off on was for today, we're going to be talking about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And so this particular shadow is basically talking about the phenomenon where something happens and you're just too triggered. Oh my gosh, do I have to talk to that person now? She hurt my feelings so bad. Do I have to tell her? She should know. She should just automatically know what she did to hurt my feelings. She knows better. She knows me very well. I shouldn't have to tell her. Or that person's a grown person at work. I already have told them, before that this bothers me. They're doing it again. They must be doing it on purpose. So I'm just never speaking to that person again. I'm just cutting that friendship off. I'm just not going to do my business at this particular, establishment anymore. I'm gonna call off for work for several days in a row, rather than have the conversation with my boss, or rather than have to go to HR and ask for my needs to be met. So this is a phenomenon where basically you've gotten spooked to the point where now you need to do something. Some kind of call to action is being presented to you. That pressure, you feel that pressure on you that something needs to be done, and rather than you got this fork in the road, and rather than do the hard thing of facing it head on or talking about it or anything like that, you to go the other route of just disappearing and throwing the whole situation away. And that could be an opportunity. I was accepted to a conference, and this really happened. I was in college, and I would submit papers to be accepted to present at grand conferences, and have to go travel to another state and have to present on the stage to other colleges. And then I would get that paper accepted, and they would say they want me to come and do a presentation in an auditorium full of people. And the idea of yes, I feel so good, I feel accomplished that my paper was accepted and that my idea was something that they want to learn more about, and they want me to come in person and give a talk on a stage about. So that's very, very rewarding to know that. But on the other hand, the stress of having to go show up, be the best, be perfect, right? Because I had a huge perfectionism shadow, and all of the things that were triggering, that were going to come up just because that I was going to have to be in public in front of people to present this, was enough that I just shut down and just didn't even respond back to the person, the person who gave me the opportunity. I didn't even email them back or anything. I just felt good in my heart that if I wanted to, I could have presented, but I sabotaged myself, and I didn't make good on this wonderful opportunity that I could have had because I was too afraid, and I threw the baby out with the bathwater. So that's the term. Baby out with the bathwater means that the bathwater itself is dirty, it's dingy, it's been used. That needs to be thrown out. That part is true. However, there was a baby in that bathwater, and you just threw the whole thing. There was something salvageable, something precious, something valuable in that water, and you threw the whole thing out, and you didn't salvage that. That's what that sentence, that's what that whole old cliche means. So for friendships, I understand that there's going to be some times when the friendship is just, it doesn't have enough value and enough benefit that that you're going to be able to save anything. You're not going to be able to salvage the relationship. There's not a reason, there's not a baby in there. So there's nothing precious in there. But if you can tell that there's something precious in there, so let's say you've had a friend who's always been there for you. They've really stuck their neck out for you when you needed help. They've given you lots of benefit in some kind of way. Some kind of way you're benefiting from their advice. When you're down and out, they've always been the kind of person that let out a helping hand, or they would give their shirt off their back or their last cent in their bank account for you. Or if you needed them to drive all the way, cross country somewhere to come get you, they come get you. Like whatever it is, you have like benefit from this friendship. But then they hurt your feelings, or they did something wrong, or they really, really crossed the line with you. It is optional. You have these options. Again, this is a free will universe. So you absolutely have the option to not talk to them and just go completely off to the side and just avoid them, avoid doing the work. Or you could realize, okay, there's something really valuable in this for me to salvage. And so what do I do? How do I make sure that I don't throw out the baby, but that I do address the dirty, yucky bathwater that's sitting there that now needs to be thrown out? For your job, that would be the same thing. If the job itself is a really good job, you love the job, you really like what you do, you like the customers or clients, you like for the most part most of your coworkers, but let's say your boss rubs you the wrong way, or they rubbed you the wrong way one time, or they do often, or let's say the coworker that sits next to you is just really, really bothering you. You would have to ask yourself again, is this valuable, precious baby? Is the baby here, this job, is it so valuable that I really don't want to throw that out, but I do have to do something to address the situation, the dirty, yucky situation that does need to be thrown out. So this is something that as empaths, as highly sensitives and gifted helpers, we have that shadow pops up for us a lot, because of the fact that when something is just unjust, when it's just not okay, it's just not okay. When somebody does something wrong, we feel like they should know. When somebody's being a hypocrite, we feel like they should have figured that out. They should have got that. When somebody, does wrong, we just feel like we're not going to go back to this place, maybe in our childhood, or where we were having people, commit unjust acts against us, or that we watched unjust acts get committed against others. Again, as an empath or a highly sensitive or a gifted helper, it doesn't matter. It could be happening to the cat next door, and you're going to feel that in you as though you're being abused just like that cat next door. It's going to really, really hurt you, and it's going to affect you so much. So it's triggering you back to that time when you're in these situations. The problem is that you're no longer that child stuck in the situation, being forced to have this unjust action forced upon you. You don't have to just pretend like it doesn't bother you. You don't have to just accept an apology that is a false apology, and that perpetrator is just going to do something against you again, whether it's abuse, whether it's toxicity. You just know that as this child in this household, this is how things always are, and they just never get fixed, and you're just supposed to deal with it. Or maybe no one even apologizes to you at all. You're just supposed to suck it up and just keep moving. So as an adult, you realize that you're not stuck anymore like a child. Like the fact that you can just flee the situation and not have to deal with it at all is different. You didn't have that option as a child. You had to just suck it up and pretend like it never happened and move forward. As an adult, you don't. As an adult, you can get out of the situation if it is not for you. So that's a plus, but it can also be a minus, because the inner child is still the one reacting to the situation. So the inner child that didn't get a chance as all those years ago to flee the situation, to get out when it wasn't beneficial to them, they're reacting in the current moment inside of you. They're the ones that say, she hurt my feelings, or that boss is being too mean to me, or it's too scary to go on stage and talk in front of people. I'll be embarrassed. I'll be vulnerable. I won't be perfect. The inner child is the one reacting, and then the adult you, who's no longer in that situation, shuts down in self-protection, to protect yourself. To say, okay, I don't want that to happen. I'm not gonna subject myself to any more of this. And the problem with choosing that option is that it keeps your growth stunted. It means that you don't actually heal that part of you. You don't go past that point, and you're always stuck with missing out on great opportunities, possibly great relationships, great opportunities at work. The universe is trying to bless you, and you're missing out on blessings because you're just throwing away all of those blessings every time the bathwater gets dirty. So that's one reason why it's not beneficial. And the other reason why it is not beneficial is that it's stunting your growth overall. So in order to reprogram those neuroplasticity, there's no neural pathways that consistently do the same thing and expect the same thing to happen again and again. They're playing that broken record again and again and again. In order to reprogram that, we have to take charge and tell the brain and the inner child, no, we're not going to do things the way we always have done them. We are going to take charge and say, we've got this. We're going to be the big boy and the big girl. We're going to make that phone call, even with the butterflies in the stomach. We're going to send the text message. We're going to go back to work and say, hey, I need to speak to, HR or the boss or whoever I need to about this situation. Whatever it is, you're going to go ahead and face it head on and give it a chance, because that way you'll know what situations really are for you and which ones aren't. For some of us, we didn't even know which situations had a baby in them, any precious, valuable, cargo in the actual situation, because we just assumed something bad happened. It must not have anything good in the situation. And in order for us to start working now and coming out of the shell and start exploring the world out there and healing from this trauma, we would need to practice. We would need to say, okay, well, if I set my boundary over here and then I wait for their reaction and see, oh, that wasn't so bad. They may have, they may not have liked it at first and everything, but they're still here and they're working with me and they're telling me now, well, actually, I had some boundaries that I was too afraid to speak up to. And now we're having this dialogue and we're working with it together. We're growing together. So that takes that practice, that takes getting over that hump of freezing as soon as you have that, baby in the bathwater situation. So we want to get over that baby with the bathwater situation, freeze, shut down reaction by practicing with our safe enough contacts, safe enough situations, and safe enough persons. So the answer to that, how do we do that, is that we find someone that is that we do feel safe enough. And the reason why we say safe enough is because people are people. They're still human. They can be too busy. They can have an opinion that you don't agree with. They can be doing their best, but it's still like they do something that hurts, and it's not anything that's really toxic or abusive. They're just being flawed humans, or being humans that have like layered lives, and they're multifaceted in their personalities, and they're not always plugged into source. Some days they're really, really unplugged. They're really, really low in their charge. They haven't been meditating. They haven't been bonding with nature. And so they respond to you from this depleted place. And so that, that might hurt you, but that doesn't mean that they are not 98% a safe person to talk to. So that's why we say safe enough. So you're going to want to find a person that you find your safe enough contact. And this can be even someone online, and I caution you, if you already know that you suffer from any type of like psychosis or anything with your therapist, if you do have a therapist, I always say for all of these, please, if you have a mental health professional that you know and that you trust, please always be contacting with them and be talking over with them anything that you might be practicing, anything new that you might be taking on. Don't just take my word for it and then say, well, I saw Wyzdom on YouTube and she said this, but my therapist said that, and I'm going to listen to Wyzdom. Please don't do that. So you can always bring this up with your therapist, but if you know that it would be safe and you're not going to go far into like any type of psychosis or anything like that, you're not going to like get swept away by the fairy tale of it. If you are okay to have someone in your mind's eye, or someone in your spiritual journey, or like for me, if I go into shamanic journey, I speak with guides. For you, meditations, anything like that, maybe a passed away loved one that used to be really, really solid and sturdy for you in your life, you can start speaking to them in spirit. So even if you don't have a person on this side of the spirit world, or someone who really exists in your life, you might have a point of contact that you talk to that is someone that you just really relate to online, or somebody that's like an idol to you, like even if they passed away. So like Maya Angelou, for say, imagine you're having this conversation with Maya Angelou and you want to tell her that something hurt you and you don't know what to do about it, and you're receiving this advice from her and she's just accepting you. And, if you find that she's the kind of person that you feel like she would be accepting to you, but she would still be honest and give you good advice, then maybe she can start off as your safe enough person while you're also working in the physical realm to manifest someone in your actual physical life that can take her place eventually. And more people, even more, because what we really want is we want to train the brain that other people in the world can be safe enough, and we can start calling in those, that our tribe, our safe enough tribe, so that we have more than just one contact that we go to have these kinds of conversations. So if you have someone in your life already, have that conversation with them. And I've done a video about the safe enough person already, and I'll go ahead and link that here. You'll probably see a picture of that, like maybe around here. And I'll put the link down below for you, so you can check that out, more about talking with your safe enough person and how to start a dialogue with them and what kind of things you would use, you would call on them for. But creating these safe enough situations and safe enough points of contact where you can practice a little bit. So say you're really, really shy about speaking on stage, maybe you can start by doing something small, like a live on YouTube, or on social media. And maybe a live is too scary, so maybe you can do a pre-recorded one where you can edit it and you can go back and look over it till you like it, and then you just post that up. Maybe you can just share a piece of writing that you've ever created, a poem or something, and just kind of come out of your shell, be a little bit vulnerable, tell a little bit of your story on social media, and that can just start breaking you out of your shell. So that can be a safe enough practice of being vulnerable and getting yourself out there. So there would be different things depending on what the situation is, on what the safe enough practice would be, whether it would be the situation, whether it would be finding your safe enough person, whether it would be telling a safe enough story because you're too afraid to tell another story. It would be doing these small types of practices to get out of your head and get you out of automatically throwing the whole thing away and just shutting completely down. You would instead practice small things so that when the big thing happens, you'd be ready. I had my husband and I had a couples therapist that once said, you want to practice when nothing's going on, so that way when the game day comes, you know what to do. Big teams, NFL teams, NBA teams, they don't just show up on game day and decide to play a game and they're going to be really, really great, right? They had tons and tons of practice. So when game day comes, any little thing that happens, they're already ready for it. They already have it in their mind. They've created those neural pathways in their mind that their body reacts before they even react. We want to try to do that. We want to try to do lots of little safe enough practicing with conversations with people that we feel safe enough, and having safe enough, opening up to situations, allowing people to speak their boundaries, allowing ourselves to speak our boundaries, but in little, small, safe enough ways, so that eventually we keep growing that and creating those neural pathways in our mind, so that when a big thing happens, we're already used to not just automatically reacting by shutting the whole thing down. We stop it and we process it. And if you decide that there's no baby in that bathwater to salvage, by all means, throw the whole thing away. What we're just talking about now is getting to that point where you slow down and you're able to ask yourself that, and you're able to see if there's something worth sticking around for in the situation. So I hope that was beneficial for you guys. That was our next shadow that we were going to be working on. Please leave in the comments if this was beneficial for you, if you have a safe enough person already, and what are some of the techniques that you practice when you get triggered in this kind of way. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Once again, if this was beneficial for you, please go ahead and like this video, share it with whoever you think might find it beneficial, and subscribe to the channel so that you can get content like this. And don't forget to ring the little bell thingy so that you're notified whenever I put out new videos. At this time, go ahead and check out my links as well if you want to see what events or what classes or anything, programs that I might be offering at this time, so that we can work together if you feel called to work with me. And that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wisdom out.